All right.
Oh, we're
What is
okay.
up, buddy?
What's
You're
up?
live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Whiskey Web and Whatnot, your favorite podcast about French cuisine, with your hosts Robbie the Wagner and Charles William Carpenter III.
I've been demoted because of my taste in whiskey. This episode is brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. 2 shots of mixed with nothing. I don't know.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah.
Yes, and our guest today is our favorite person, Shaundai.
Oh, but
You're redeeming yourself.
Yeah, for those who have maybe not heard of you, could you please give a few sentences about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. My name's Shaundai Person. I am a senior software engineer at Netflix. I'm also a conference speaker and had the pleasure of keynoting that conference yesterday, talking about leveraging transferable skills. And I am a parent. I'm a mom to a very tall 6-year-old.
Whose pants may or may not be confused with your own.
Yeah, there's a whole
what's that?
story.
Yes. I was going to get to that later, but that's fine.
No, I just jump ahead,
just
ruin
not
everything.
pants.
This is the nature of our relationship.
Speaking of ruining everything.
You want to talk about today's whiskey?
Yeah. What's the
don't.
mash bill?
Hold
of
on.
this?
I don't. I am livid.
Yeah. No, we're
Thank you.
just kidding.
Well,
Okay.
this screwball is amazing.
Yeah.
This is, and I have no info on it.
Oh, sorry, we
actually,
do have info. I didn't want the notes
Alrighty.
up for the spoilers.
Right. It is the Uncle Nearest 1884 small batch whiskey. I didn't do any of the things.
Yeah.
It's a mash bill of at least 51% corn, rye, and malted barley. But that's not how that works.
Well,
but
51% corn, and then there's some
then
rye and
other
malted barley. I
things,
don't think
yes.
it's specified.
4 years age, 46.5%
Alcohol times 2 equals the proof. We don't do math on this show.
93% proof.
Okay.
Just read. Reading is a
I didn't
skill
read.
also.
I Googled.
All right. So Uncle Nearest is a really cool story just because Nearest, there's a lot of historical documentation that's come out as of recently where Nearest was actually the master distiller for Jack Daniels, worked with Jack Daniels in the early days in developing their early whiskey recipes. And obviously, as a black gentleman in Tennessee, wasn't appropriately recognized. And all of that is like coming to light now. So it's like a great story going through. These releases are the time of the mash bills, I think publication or development, something like that. So the year has to do with that specifically. So yeah, we're trying one of those today, which I think.
And
I didn't
it's
get the
not
pro tip.
unwrapped, so we're going to do that
This
right
is
now.
going to be hard. So the pro tip for our one listener of the podcast, typically we do this in advance.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah. Hard and
You need some help?
plastic, maybe. Hold on.
You got to do it like you mean.
You guys feel free to have a peanut butter whiskey while
You know,
I do this.
I'm okay, I think.
Yeah, I'm good.
You have to at least try
These
it.
are cool cans, though.
Yeah,
like
they are
the
cool
branding
cans.
is nice.
We could have done
Yeah.
worse, is all I'm saying.
Gold
It's
sheep.
like we
Yeah.
almost got a whole bottle of that crap.
Oh,
And then we were like,
Well, we were going to do the joke
a
with a
troll.
whole bottle, and then we were like, that's not worth doing. Then we got to the checkout, and they had these, and we're like,
okay.
perfect.
gotta do it.
I'll let
Yeah,
you forward first.
Okay, thank you.
Given
So the
what we've
joke,
done to
we
you.
didn't explain the joke, but
That's true. Yeah.
the joke is that when we were setting up for me to be on the podcast, when you reached out and you asked what type of whiskey I wanted,
Mhm.
and I said pretty much anything except for Screwball peanut butter whiskey, because in the last time I spoke with you all, I told you what the absolute worst whiskey was that I ever tasted,
And
and it was Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah.
And so when I first sat down at this table, all there was this giant bottle of water and this Screwball peanut butter whiskey that I am so disappointed in. But like you said, Robbie, the branding it's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's in a single serving can. It's nice. Maybe we can share it with the audience later
That'd be
on. Feel
more.
free.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Anyone that likes it.
all of you there,
Probably not
feel
many
free to
people
have
that do.
some.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
Smelling.
Oh, I poured a lot of that.
yeah,
Oops.
you did.
Yeah.
You all
That's all
did
right.
not come to play.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to try and get a little of that pour sounds.
I got some notes
Ooh.
of juicy fruit in there.
Definitely. have.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, juicy fruit, that gum and stuff. Yeah, I get a
Yeah.
little of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because juicy fruit is not juicy or fruity.
No,
It's,
it has its own
its
like
own thing,
unique
yeah.
invented flavor. Yeah.
It's true. It is this very
A
specific.
little citrus, a little citrus.
flavor fruit.
I mean, you don't have to follow our lead. You
Mm.
can just get in there.
No, I had a sip.
Yeah, I'm going
I'm
to chew it a little bit.
palating it. It's delicious. It's
Mm.
actually really good.
Ooh, okay.
This is really good. It's strong, though.
A little sherbet
Mm.
in the start.
Sherbet could be
Sherbet ice
said
cream,
to be
orange sherbet
juicy
ice cream.
fruit-like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
flavor. I have some of that initially.
Actually, like a
Picking up
dreamsicle, like some vanilla.
Ooh, yes, some
Mhm.
cream in there too.
I like
Creamsicle, dreamsicle,
Not
what
just
do you call
cash
that?
rules everything around me, but like
Yeah.
real cream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like your descriptions today. These are very specific.
If you do this for a couple of years straight, you start to like invent words
I
to
hear it.
get there. And
Well,
like,
you
can
used to
imagine.
just say apricot every
I know
time.
dried apricot,
Mhm.
Everything
which
is dried
does
apricot.
have a place, but
I like that it's strong, but it's not super overbearing.
Mhm.
So I could drink this neat and sip it really slowly with a big giant ice cube in it.
oh yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we could probably get drunk really quick after this.
93 proof is bringing some heat, so
Oh, it
it's
is.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah, this is I can feel it going all the way
a
down
little
too.
burn there,
Like
a little
yeah.
hug,
Oh,
a little
yeah.
Tennessee hug
Yeah.
on this one.
A
Yes.
little
Oh, yeah, not Kentucky
warm-
hug.
No, it's from Tennessee. I'm just trying
warm rub of
to give
the
it up where it goes. But
insides.
okay, it's been a little while, so you may or may not recall our very distinctive rating system from 0 to 8 tentacles. 0 is horrible. Perhaps this is is right there.
Yeah,
where
that's
you
your
wanna be.
baseline
Yes,
for a zero.
baseline around that. 4 is like not bad, not horrible, but just kind of like it's all right. 8, amazing, clear the shelves. This is my brand. I'm just like, yeah, it's just really good. How about that? Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not overdoing it, but yeah, I don't know. Did you want to go first, or should I make
Sure.
Robbie?
I'm going with an 8. I really like this. This
Yes.
this is my exact type of whiskey.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is good.
I love that.
I'm going to say 6.142, I think.
Okay.
This is solid.
Okay.
Pretty
It's a
good.
solid score.
Like, I don't have any complaints about it. I just feel like there's other things I've liked more. So that's why a little bit less, but still very high. Would recommend.
Yeah, I'm trying to feel. So I tend to try to categorize some of these. And is this a straight bourbon, or is it just an American whiskey? I'm going to assume the latter.
Yeah, because it's 51% corn, which means it would be bourbon, right?
It's yeah, and the age time matters too. So I don't know. Pretty tasty. I am kind of like between the 6 and 7 range on it.
This is
Like
good.
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying that like initial kind of creamy, like orangey flavor with
Yeah.
it. It's got a little bit of burn. It's actually like, yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. So I'm like, I don't know, I'll go 6.5. I like
Okay.
it. Have it again. I actually think we tried one other of theirs.
This
Which was
one's
a
better.
100 proof one. I think this one is much better even.
Yep.
Which one did you try?
I forget what the other year was, but there's another year,
Okay.
like
It has-
1856
It has
maybe.
a black label and it is
And-
100 proof.
Yeah.
And so I think it's
Wow.
like bottled in bond.
Mhm.
How does
And
this compare to that one?
I think
This
this
one's
one's
better.
better.
Yeah.
I
okay.
would go with
Mhm.
this one like
Nice.
every
Good
day.
choice. Good
Yeah.
choice. Good choice.
Yeah, I think they have like 4 or 5. Like they
They
have a
do.
barrel proof one out and they have a couple of
Yeah.
different recipes.
It's hard to find all of them, but yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Right.
Total Wine. Total Wine has a bunch of them where I'm at in
Mhm.
Phoenix.
Yeah, you can't
this
buy,
episode
can't
is
buy it
sponsored
at
by
wine
Total
stores in Virginia, turns out.
Oh, right. You
wow.
would
Yeah.
have drive to Maryland.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Maryland, all alcohol is in the same. Like, you can't buy beer at the grocery store or anything. It's all at
It's
the alcohol store.
Montgomery County. You can because I was
really?
in the. Yeah, I used to get in. Here we go. Out myself as an alcoholic. There are whiskey lotteries for allocated bottles, so that's how I would get things like Pappy Van Winkle and Buffalo Trace antique collections and whatever else. So yeah, it was a weird thing. And there's a Total Wine there that you could go to and get stuff.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know what you have.
I
But
found it a lot. We do have a Total Wine in Atlanta. I found this in a couple of stores and even just the other package stores that we have.
Yeah.
Or they call liquor stores out there. But or sometimes they call package stores. But yeah, you can find it. Our beer and wine is available both in the grocery stores and in the liquor
yeah,
stores.
see, same in Kentucky. Same.
Like
yeah, Phoenix.
Yeah.
You can get it.
I like when
everywhere.
you can get your liquor at CVS. That's
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
to go.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
solid.
It used to be for
Medication.
medicinal purposes only during Prohibition.
Well, that's true.
So they continue.
Yeah,
to
Churchill had a
produce.
note when he was in the U.S. that he could drink. It was a medical necessity.
Absolutely.
Oh,
That
and
guy
I
would've been
believe
nuts.
that. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like he was onto something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secured a lot for me.
All right. Should we do some lukewarm takes?
Yes, you like saying that. That's
I
your
do.
thing. Yeah.
Because I hate
They're
calling them hot
hot-ish.
now. They're not very hot anymore.
Well, it depends. Right
Well,
now,
this one is
people are
kind of hot.
complaining a lot about, yes.
What do you think about nested ternaries?
I like nested ternary. No,
Ooh,
I don't like nested ternary.
You can
sorry.
leave now.
No, sorry. I didn't hear the nested part. Then I
Okay.
repeated it, and then I heard it, and I was like, no, I don't like that. I don't like nested ternaries.
Yeah.
They don't look as, they're not as readable for the outside person. It's great when you're just trying to get the logic out.
Mhm.
And so, there's that, I forget what the line is, but you make it work and then make it pretty. And
Yes.
so when you're in that make it work phase, it's a great way to just kind of lay out the logic and get things working until you're ready to go back and make it pretty. But yeah, I'm not a nested ternaries fan.
Yeah. That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glad I
I
came
think
to
they
that
should
way.
put a prettier rule in that's just like write nested ternaries if you want, and we're going to convert them to either ifs or like a switch statement or
case.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody likes that. Yeah,
No,
people
it's
have been
true.
talking about it on Twitter, and I'm like, who likes these? I don't get it.
So they put up an
it's-
example,
Yeah.
someone critiqued it enough, and then there you go.
Are there people who are in favor of nested ternaries?
I don't know if they really are or if they're
Mm.
just trying to get
Trying to-
attention.
Right,
But
fight another.
yeah,
that's
there are
right.
people that say they are.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Like, if you had to do it, is there like a limit? Like, would you do a nested ternary if it's only 2 cases? When's the
Still
break
no,
point?
because I get confused with like all the colons and question marks of like
Yeah.
what's where.
Yeah. If
So no, it's
this, then
maybe my brain's too small, but I don't like it.
Readability matters.
It does.
that's it.
I think well, I guess there's more than one, but I'll go with this, is everyone arguing about React server components, or
Mm.
basically this, blending too much of the server and the front end and browser readability and all of that kind of stuff. Basically, it's Next, not React, but it's called React server components. So
Yeah. Do you have a question there? Or?
yeah. Mike, did you? No, I guess I didn't.
I know you just said the words.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Like, what is your opinion on that?
What's your
Or-
opinion on those arguments around React server components making React useless?
wait, say that one more time.
Is
Yeah. Is
so-
that even the argument? All right, sorry, I'm derailing you. But people aren't saying it's useless.
No, they're just saying it's bad practice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too much blending of the server on the client.
Right.
And
Ah.
Yeah.
does this look like PHP? What's the whole point of like forwarding this particular framework in this way?
Yeah. So actually, in 2021, I was part of the React working group where they were working on React 18, the beta version, and they collected a group of not collected, but I don't know what the word is. They put together a group of people for this working group to introduce the features to before they were released. And React server components weren't called server components at that time, but the part that I was the most interested in is the streaming server rendering with suspense. And a talk that I gave at ReactConf that year was streaming server rendering with suspense. So
Say that 5 times.
yeah,
fast.
right.
Yes. Wait, have this first.
No.
No, thank you. So I know a lot about it because I had to work with the team to build this talk. And I said this in the last podcast that I did with you all. I'm not that opinionated about things. And there's pros and cons to actually being opinionated in the first place. But I understand that in any situation, there's always trade-offs to things. When it comes to front end versus back end and how separate they should be, I'm like, why not? Like, I'm of the opinion that, like, why not? Maybe not in every single case, right? But especially when you're working on big applications like I am, like, I can see why there's a different developer who's responsible for managing the front end. But I don't want, if I'm a manager or if I'm anybody as part of that team, I don't want everybody just working in silos and only focusing on the front end and
Sure.
never giving any consideration to the back end. And
Right.
so merging the two, to me, is a way of forcing people to consider both sides of things and not to just like, okay, I'm going to make it as easy as possible. I'm just going to put all these nested ternaries in there because this is the easiest thing to do. Now I'm thinking about what are the implications from a design perspective and what are the implications from back-end perspective. So now, like, as a front-end engineer, I'm forced to consider things from a back-end perspective. And I'm just of the mindset that, like, thinking of things from other perspectives changes the way that you code, the way you architecture code for the better. So I'm more in favor of the general, like, we need to work as a team aspect of it. And if that's one way of getting people to do more, like getting front end engineers to do more back end work or make considerations of the back end more, then that's it. I guess I
Yeah.
take it maybe a little bit deeper than it needs to be, but I'm like,
No, I think
this is how
there's
we're better
actually a
engineers.
couple of different potential aspects of that. To one degree, it sounds like you kind of advocate for full stack web frameworks, right? Like you don't need a separation of concerns. We can actually kind of have this unified application framework that is getting us there, and the code base is shared. And even if, like, this person is working more on the API side and this person is working more on the UI template side, you're seeing that progress together, right? And then the alternative is sort of like contracts. So you talk about, like, if it is a separate back end and a separate front end, and this is the working overlap, there are contracts there and you can contract test and things of that nature. So there's almost like, regardless, they're never like completely abstracted from one another because they're, consumers of one another in various ways. So
yeah.
Well, I think, like, the thing that's been historically the reason why we want them to be separate is like security or whatever. Like, you don't want your front end to access the database, which it kind of looks like we're doing now in React. And it's
Right.
like, you're not really, though. Like, as long as you still have the correct safeguards in place, it's fine. But I think people get worried seeing that and thinking, like, but maybe we don't need to care, because before everything, all these frameworks, if you were doing PHP or whatever, you knew how to do MySQL and all the things, and you were just doing it all. It was separate, but you still had all that knowledge. So maybe it's not that bad.
I don't know. Those frameworks still had ORMs though, right? Like,
well, yeah.
So you were never like doing like select all from table drop.
Well, you were sometimes. And if
Hopefully
you did it
were.
wrong, you go, hey, I'm going to quit my job real quick and I'll see you later.
This is my notice. This was production, right?
Yeah.
So there are reasons for abstractions, but yes.
Sure.
But being completely unaware or agnostic to what else is happening in delivering things on the web, I agree with that. I think that, like, you can be a master of your craft, but you don't necessarily need to be completely unaware of everything else that is happening to deliver this thing on the web. It's highly complex. That's part of it, right?
So you would say it depends?
Mostly. I mean, that's what makes me a senior engineer is that I just usually respond with, it depends. Have another drink of whiskey.
I like it.
Yeah. The another hard-hitting question is sidebar on the left or right in VS Code?
Left.
The right answer was Vim.
Yeah. Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Well, like,
I don't do it either.
Whenever someone responds to that with, I use NeoVim, it's like, well, okay, that's the wrong answer.
You're just trying to show off.
Yeah.
That's what that means. Yeah. I'm just trying to write some text files. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
VS Code all day.
Right.
All day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
So, little known fact. Not really.
Not after today.
Yeah.
We're going to hear about it now.
Largely known fact. I was learning to code in 2019, and I didn't know, there was nobody to tell me, because I was self-taught. There was nobody to tell me what an IDE, like what the IDEs were.
Right.
I just, in my head, I never asked anybody, but I'm like, I'm assuming the IDEs cost money. And so I'm like, all right, well, what's a free thing that I can use to code? I landed on Dreamweaver. So in 2019, I learned to code on Dreamweaver.
Nice.
Making like the worst type of websites. It was just like HTML. It was just like all HTML, like the body, and then div. And like everything was just like nested divs, and everything was repeated. I didn't understand any JavaScript. So it was just like, to make a nav bar, I would have a div and a div and a div. And there was no functional aspect of it. It was just, everything was just laid out. But yeah, it was all in Dreamweaver, my first little website.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'm surprised Dreamweaver's free, honestly.
You know what? I don't think it actually was. I think at the time I had access to somebody's Adobe
account,
she
stole it.
You know what?
Just set the
I'm
data
so
for
did
computer
like,
back.
yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Adobe Creative Suite.
Yeah. And like
Oh, no.
using people's logins to
Oh,
accounts.
gosh.
Yeah, now
Hey,
I
we
can
all
That was
did
better.
it.
Yeah,
We all
I
did
know.
it.
It's
I
funny
know.
though. Early days, I worked on Dreamweaver too,
Mhm.
as well,
Mhm.
because it was taking Photoshop files and slicing them up and turning them into tables.
And you had to
And-
already be a professional photographer to afford Photoshop, which made no sense.
You
Fair.
said steal. You
No,
said
no,
steal
that's
wrong.
why you steal it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
unless you're already a professional,
It was like $2,000.
yeah,
for the
I'm like, I can
versions.
pay that. Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
sorry.
That's my
Right.
Windows days, but anyway.
Yeah. The dark days. Yeah.
The dark days.
It was a cold, dark day.
Yeah.
in
You had PowerShell.
2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
no.
And Robbie's like, "Was I born yet?" Oh,
I used Windows.
I had the Power Rangers.
I even used Windows 3, some
3.1
or whatever it
I
was.
There
don't
was one
even
of
know.
those?
I don't even.
Wasn't
know
that a thing? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
there was
you
a
are.
3.1, but I think your dad used it, and you
No,
had
we
it and saw the
we
thing,
got
or-
at our church. We got all these computers like donated. They were really
Oh,
old.
This
So
makes
I
sense.
played, like,
This
old
really
games
makes
on
so
that.
much sense.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It
What
was
was-
like
No, we
was
had
that the-
95 at my house.
yeah. I was gonna say 95 was like
Yeah.
the big release, and there was one before that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
was using
was Vista before that? Wait,
no. This
this
is later.
was
It was
before
after 98.
Yeah.
XP, right?
Yeah,
Oh, XP.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vista was before XP.
And
I
they
think-
like just got rid of XP. I feel like people were like, "Oh, I don't need to upgrade."
IE6 finally
Yeah.
just got eliminated
Yeah.
from the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta-
Unless
yeah.
you're certain companies we know of.
Yeah. You just
Anyway.
might as well out people. Anyway,
I
you have topics.
do.
Topical.
don't know what we were talking about a minute ago. Was GraphQL a mistake?
No,
No.
I love GraphQL.
Okay.
I went on a whole rant. You know how sometimes people will say something and it just like something clicks in your brain, you just nerd, and you just like talk very nerdy, and then you just realize like 40 minutes in, you're like, wait a second, I have been talking this entire time. So I was talking to somebody about, and this was a couple drinks in already, but like I was talking to somebody about GraphQL, and they asked me, was like, I hate, or no, they didn't ask me. They just said that they hate GraphQL.
Mm.
You know what? After that conversation, I understand GraphQL is not appropriate for certain applications.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an application that's like super small, building a GraphQL schema makes no sense. And in my case, where I'm using GraphQL is at Netflix, where we have a bunch of different data stores, and then we federate all that data into
Oh,
like a
there you
single
go.
graph.
Yes.
And like I could take the astronomical amount of information at Netflix, right? User data.
There's a lot of info there?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Or as a REST API. Or I could just, take it as part of the federated graph and only take the parts that I want.
Mhm.
So I love GraphQL. So actually, and I gave my talk about transferable skills, and I talked about how one of my lessons in my career switch was to shoot your shot. When I applied for my job at Netflix, this was listed in the job requirements that I needed React and GraphQL skills. I had never, I'd heard of GraphQL, but I had never used GraphQL. I
Right.
had used REST at my previous job, and I didn't really understand what GraphQL did. And I just looked up enough in my interview that I could say, okay, this is how it compares to REST. But all of my practice was with REST. Now that I'm so practiced with GraphQL, I'm like, man, this makes my application so lightweight. Like I said, with all the abundant amount of data that we have,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to be able to just take what I need,
Mhm.
just to show what I need, just to make the calls and select just the pieces of information that I need from each data store. So no, it wasn't a mistake. No.
Okay. I wasn't saying it was. I was just
I just
You
want
asked.
to, because I have this at my convenience, I just want to thank
What?
Ross has set us up. So 3.11 and 3.1 were the versions before 95. I think 3.11 added networking.
Okay.
So
So I was not
just to
wrong.
shut up. No,
Everyone's
no,
like, "Oh,
you were
Windows
absolutely
3."
right,
No,
yeah.
yes, it was.
It feels like it was all a farce before
you
95.
should know. You
but-
were still
Well,
like using an abacus.
So
and,
I
like,
graduated, first of all, exactly. I mean, that was almost the jump. So so I had a weird situation. So Windows 95 was the year that I graduated high school. My high school had this like crazy federal grant through like Bill Clinton and all this other stuff. So we had power books, and all the teachers had like whatever the Apple
So
stations
you weren't
were
using
and all
Windows
this
at
stuff.
all.
I mean, I was barely using a computer, and it was the free ones from the government, and they were like power books. You go write a thing, and so yeah, I actually didn't get much computer literate until after high school. So,
Wow.
Interesting.
yeah, like I could do things like I had aunt or uncle or whatever who had like an Apple II, and we could make banners and play Oregon Trail. Like computers
Pirate
were like,
stuff, download
yeah,
things.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, no, that came later. College, we Napster.
Maybe that
and
was
all
a
that
little
stuff.
later
Yeah,
than
that
that,
was later
yeah.
for me. So anyway, shout out to Ross. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thanks,
that.
Ross.
And I was mostly computer illiterate until around that time. Not like completely, but I definitely wasn't anywhere on the path where I am.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize how old you are. But it's like
I say it all
Yeah,
the time.
he has
I
a
thought
young
you
face,
were,
yeah.
you too.
as my agent, I feel like you should be representing
right.
this in some
You're right. Yeah.
appropriate way. So
You've got like the hip clothing and
yeah,
everything, so it's
right,
like,
right.
you
Yeah,
know.
that it throws you off, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
It does. You look like
I got.
hello, fellow kids. Very.
I don't even know what that
The
is.
Paul Rudd.
Oh,
Hello,
that wasn't
fellow
Paul. That
millennials.
was
Yeah,
Paul Rudd.
yeah.
No, he did
Steve
that.
Buscemi.
Paul Rudd did
Buscemi.
it
It was
too.
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi. See,
But Paul
that
Rudd
meme.
also did it.
Hey, fellow
Oh,
kids. Okay, well, the
yeah,
meme
with
that
the
she's referencing,
with the
it,
skateboard.
Okay,
Yes, Paul
okay,
Buscemi.
yeah, yeah.
Steve
Steve
Buscemi.
Buscemi.
Yeah.
Paul
Whatever,
Buscemi.
whatever.
Mhm.
Paul Rudd is ageless. Okay,
Yeah.
by the way. So
He did like a
Oh, wait,
commercial
was
for like millennials or something. I forget the details, but he was like, "Hello, fellow
kids.
millennials."
Oh, so it
And
was probably a play on
yeah,
that original.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, fellow
he was like,
kids.
"As
I do
someone
know Paul
also
Rudd.
born in this time period."
We're all
Yeah.
Gen Xers, and we're
Yeah.
forgotten. I don't know what to say. So
Yeah.
where were we?
Oh, I
I
don't know.
know.
Did we have any more hot takes? Pages or app router? I don't really care. I mean, I don't know
You
either of
don't
those. Do you,
care,
which
but
do you
What was
like?
it? What was it?
Pages or app router. So that's
for
more about
Next.js?
the triangle company
Oh,
changes.
I don't actually use Next in my job, so I don't have an opinion on
Good
that.
for you.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Good
I
for you.
know. It's like straight up React. No frameworks.
Yeah. So you touched on your talk a little. Do you want to give a few highlights from your talk?
Okay, so my talk was on leveraging transferable skills. It's called I keep getting it wrong. Cold calls to code calls, because I went
Yeah.
from sales to engineering.
Yes.
So the first part of my talk is just explaining my big fear when I went through my career transition, which was that I'd be throwing away over a decade of experience and all that hard work and all the career capital that I'd built during my time in sales. I had a resume that could get me in the door wherever I wanted to go to, and now I'd be like competing with other people for jobs, people who had used all that time to get their experience, to get their reps in and stuff.
Right.
And so the first part is me facing that fear, but then also there's this realization that I'm actually like the coding skills, not to minimize it, but like when you're going for an interview, the coding skills become a commodity. And because you can bet that when your resume is against somebody else's, they have the React skills and the GraphQL skills the same as you have. But what can you add to that? And really it comes down to these transferable skills. So I realized that especially in a career previously where my career was based off of soft skills. In sales, your career is just based off of your ability to connect emotionally with somebody. There were so many lessons that I learned that made me a great salesperson, but that made me an exceptional engineer because I could code, but I could also like have these emotional connections. So I'm teaching the lessons that I learned in sales, these big lessons, to help people to understand that one, your previous skills in your previous career or your parenting or your volunteering or whatever you do outside of work or in a previous job, that's not a waste. Like you take those skills and you're building on them. That's one. And then also, I want you to learn these same lessons that I learned in sales to be able to equip yourself with how to market yourself as what I call a superset of an engineer. So a superset, I consider it to be an upgrade. So the regular engineer is here. You with your skills, your ability to communicate with people, your ability to persevere, your ability to speak multiple languages, your ability to lead, that makes you an upgrade for whatever everybody else is. So that was pretty much my talk. It was meant to be inspirational, but also to share my story of my career transition.
Yeah. It's actually an amazing path because having been an engineering manager and helped people on their career paths, and like you said, like they were spending that time working on their technical skills and the acumen in that sense. But oftentimes, what would be Chick-fil-A? I'm sorry. And
ADHD.
oftentimes, what would be
I like Chick-fil-A.
it is. We'll try and wrap this up so Robbie can get some Chick-fil-A.
Getting hungry over
But
here.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, but what is oftentimes like the discussion and the inhibitor and like what are things we need to work on are the soft skills.
Yes.
You don't know how to evangelize your wins. If you're trying to move into leadership, you
Yeah.
need to work better with other people.
That's
and
a
so,
big
like,
thing that like
you were front loading all of that stuff, and you just had to like flip the script on that.
That's
And you're
it.
like, let me get good enough, good at coding
yeah.
and show you I got both already. Boom.
Yeah.
That's
Like one of the
That's
big
it.
things that people don't do is talk about what they've been doing
Yeah.
and being like, I did this work, I did it this way, I did a great job, like I'm the best. It sounds like, you shouldn't say that because you're like full of yourself or whatever,
Yeah.
but you should because like that's the only way you get noticed. People want to give you promotions when you're doing
Yeah.
that. Like if you can't do that,
no one's a bigger fan of you than you,
Yeah.
and you
Love
should
it.
recognize that.
yeah,
and
like we teach
Absolutely.
modesty, but like, no, you don't need to do that when you're trying to get
modesty is a
Yeah.
career of 20-year mediocrity, and that's maybe fine for people. It is totally fine. I think that like if someone is in a lane that they are comfortable with and they're okay with that, I have no problem with that, to be honest. But if you're asking me how to level up, how to get promoted, how to get more money, how to get more of whatever, then it takes work. You can't just keep following the same path to get to that. And that's
100,000%.
your choice.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
and I think we do need some of both. There's no
Mhm.
doubt about that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tweeted a couple weeks ago, somebody was asking for advice, like career advice for people who are over 30 or from people who are over 30. And I was like, my biggest thing is to get comfortable bragging about yourself. Like that's the biggest thing. And one thing that I've learned in sales, and people have made comments to me recently, like, you seem so confident. And is that something that you've always had? No, it's something that I've had to practice, something that I had to get my reps in because I've heard no so many times. I've been hung up on so many times. I've been insulted so many times. And me coming in as like a young Black woman to any space is just like automatically, immediately you're stereotyped as this or that or whatever. Everybody is stereotyped at some level, you're
Right.
expected to be this and that. And my ability to let one, like insults, weird questions, curious-ish comments roll off of me, that's a whole other skill that I've had to practice. But my ability to relentlessly fight for the value that I see it's such a powerful skill. But where it comes into play when it comes to like interviewing, going for promotions, is like you have to fight for that value for yourself. You can't, like you said, you can't feel humble. Like that's the biggest weakness that you can have. Like even if, and this is a big part of my talk, is like so many times as people, we will devalue our skills, we'll discredit ourselves, we'll assume that everybody has the exact same skills that we have at the same level that we have. And that's not the case.
Right.
Just because it comes easily to you, just because it comes naturally to you, it doesn't mean that it comes naturally or easily to everybody else.
Right.
So like take pride in it. And even if it is something that everybody else can do, you do it better. Like you have to convince yourself in your head that you have more value to offer, and you have to be able to articulate that value. So it's like that's really all sales is just like feeling confident in whatever thing you're selling. If you're in an interview, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to feel confident in that. Not even feel confident, act like you feel confident in it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you want
Interviewing
something,
is.
if you
Sorry.
want something, no, you're okay.
No, you go.
No, you go.
No, you
How
go.
about you?
Oh, okay.
You guys are
We don't get to be in person that often anymore,
Aw.
so that's just part of it. No, but I think that like you have a personal responsibility.
Yep.
If you want something else, it's not up to someone else to see it in you.
Sure.
It's up to you to evangelize that. And if, like you said, you're somebody who it just comes natural to me, you don't have to gatekeep that because you're going to keep getting it, you know? So, like, invite people to that and they are
Yeah.
going to support you and they'll do some of that evangelizing for you.
Mhm.
That's another way to go about it.
Yep.
You can either do it yourself or you can support others
Yeah.
and they will also
If you
evangelize that
just
and that
keep
will get you there too.
letting them know what you're doing, you pair with them, you do things, they
Yeah.
will all be
They're
like,
going to be like,
this
Robbie's
person's
awesome.
good. And then they'll
Yeah.
let
You know
other
why
people
I'm
know.
doing
Yeah.
a good job? Because Robbie's been helping me.
Right.
Mm.
And then that
Mhm.
also does a thing. So you
Mhm.
can take a couple
Yeah.
of routes there, I think. But
I love that. I love that. I especially love the, like, even if it comes naturally to you, it's not a bad thing because, so here's a conflict that I have in my head, and I'm like kind of bringing up a spicy-ish topic, but it's not spicy to me. I don't care.
Mm.
So we can just talk as freely as we want to about it. So I feel like affirmative action, diversity, right? There's an aspect of me speaking at conferences where it's like, okay, maybe okay, so this is in my head. Part of me thinks that, okay, maybe conference organizers are like, who's a Black woman who would talk about React? There's only one. Like, there's like one option,
There's
right?
only one.
No, there's
Oh,
more, but there's
Yeah.
like a handful. Like you can
Sure.
probably count on one hand,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And so part of me is like, well, I guess I was born with this skin and I was born with this gender. So this is obviously something that has come very naturally to me, my Blackness, right? My femininity or my womanness, right? So there's part of me that's like, oh, this is something that comes naturally to me. So it makes it easier in some sense to get to certain places because I'm like, if you only are here to fill a quota,
Mm.
then I'm a very natural fit, right? And so part of me as just like, well, that's not fair. Like, we shouldn't think like that is like, oh, well, maybe I should do things. I shouldn't do conferences where I feel like I'm just a token, right?
Sure.
Another part
Mm.
of me is like, I need to capitalize on this uniqueness because this is what's getting me in the door. Thank you. When I show up and I love Tessa. Shout out to Tessa from Snap. When I show up, like when I get there, I'm gonna show up and show out. I'm not just gonna be there as the diversity person.
Sure. Yeah.
Even if I am like hired or like accepted as
If
a
you get in the
speaker
door for that reason, that's fine. But you're
right.
going to get
But
so much
when I
more.
get
Yeah.
there, I'm gonna show you exactly why
Yeah.
Yep.
other people, you need to be bringing in other people. This is diversity of not just race and gender. This is diversity of perspectives. This is the flavor that you need on your chicken.
Yeah.
Like this is, you have been
Stop
eating.
making me hungry.
No, I'm telling you, you've been eating the worst type of chicken for so long. Let's come over to Chick-fil-A and let me show you
Oh,
what we
yeah.
can do.
Mhm.
Like let me show you what you've been missing out on. And then I feel like I'm opening the door for more people. So not only am I giving this view to people who haven't ever given a chance to other Black women, right? So
Right.
other people who haven't been exposed to Black women in tech and showing them what we can do. I'm also showing other Black women that this is what it can look like to be authentically yourself and to find a career where you can be happy and make money.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm playing to all the different sides. So I choose to lean into that side where it's like, I just block it out of my mind. All that to say, if something comes naturally to you, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I shouldn't capitalize on it or I shouldn't tout it because it's so easy. Like it comes easy for me. I've always been a great speaker, or I grew up
Mhm.
in a different country, so I naturally speak multiple languages. So that's not like I shouldn't apply to things that actually leverage those skills. They feel guilty, and I get it. I get it.
Mm.
Like I understand the guilt behind it. But I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's okay to capitalize on something that comes naturally to you because it's just kind of like
Yeah.
everything else is set up to be so hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not take the
Why
easy
not
things
lean
sometimes,
in and see what you can
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
And you don't set the rules. Like, why would you not take advantage of like
Absolutely.
that's yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I have an interesting counterexample, but I also
Let's
I know
go.
you, and I want you to call me on bullshit at any point.
You know I
during
will.
this,
I'm very
okay?
curious to
I
see
will.
where
I'm
this
so
goes.
welcome.
So
It's so
I'm
welcome.
eating the popcorn here.
yes, you are. You should be, because I definitely question myself a little bit in this, and I think so. we talked to James Quick before you, and he brought to light that he has a passion for, doesn't know if he's good at, but whatever else is like a thing that he likes to do. And that is rap, like write rap
Yes.
music and all that kind of thing, right? Like he wants to write rap lyrics, he wants to rap, like he's done a little bit of it and whatever else. And I made a comment over like, there is, I think, to some culturally, there's some homogeny that has happened. And I know for me, like I grew up in an urban atmosphere listening to like punk rock and hip hop and like I do feel very connected to it. And I had a lot of that through my life, but obviously it doesn't come from me. Like I don't own that or whatever else. But would it be suffice to say that is sort of like, as a society, this is a good way to sort of move forward and say like, oh, tech has been very like white dominated. And now we're like saying like, no, we want other perspectives because we want to learn how to make things for all users, right? Not
Yeah.
just
Right.
business users, not whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know 100% where I was going with this, but it kind of like brought up
Yeah.
that example to me of being like, it's also kind of like not super cool, even with folks who have become successful in hip hop, like for white folks to be like, I like hip hop. I want to
Right.
write some. I don't write poetry. I write
Yeah.
I write rhymes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is that cool too? And
So first, I'll say, Chuck, you'll never be cool. So
thank you. I know. I keep trying, but I
Oh,
love it.
truth.
That's all right.
Cheers.
I can live with that. I can live with it.
Cheers to this. Hold on. It's good luck. You have to tap it and take a sip.
Oh,
And
gosh.
that's always why I want to hang out with black ladies.
That's
Because
exactly
they will never
it.
accept me, but I keep wanting it.
No, but we elevate you, and
I
this is
know,
why.
no,
Like,
my wife knows
I'm
this.
happy
This
to
is
be.
a secret. Like, anyway.
Oh, God.
I love it. No, but you bring up a great point. So there's a couple things that I want to say about it. Like, there's, I'll call out first the offensive route, right? That we could go. I'm not saying that you went offensive. I'm saying there's the offensive route.
That's why I was like,
we
I'm
could go.
trying not to be,
Right.
but I want to bring this up, and there feels like an overlap.
Yeah, no. So there's the appropriation route, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm just calling out. I'm not saying anybody here, right? Because it's not the case. There's the appropriation route where not we, black, white men, right, take parts that are cool of a culture and then try to say this is ours. Or like,
Yeah.
you take it and you give it a different name and then you say it's ours. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
hey, this used to be a taco. Now I'm calling it a salad with a quesadilla or a
Who
flat
knows?
piece
Whatever.
of bread
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
you're appropriating, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
This is curiosity about a different culture. This is the admiration of a culture, and this is me like trying to be in it. So if you're including the people who have started this culture, the people who are the best at it, and making sure that their voices are heard, leveraging your ability to communicate, leveraging your platform, leveraging your podcast to lift up these people
Yeah.
and saying, okay, this is a fun thing to do. James, for example, he's a great example because James, I attribute a lot of my ability to get out there to. Me and him were like fast friends. It was like immediately he invited me on his podcast when I was like getting my first starts in tech. I don't even know if I had actually moved into tech, but he invited me on his podcast just to like talk about tech stuff. We started out just talking and we was like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. And he's so great. But and I know because I've been saying that we're gonna rap battle at some point.
Oh, yes.
I know like where he's coming from is a place of admiration and just like
Yeah,
this
sure.
is my stuff. Like I love rappers. And obviously rap is predominantly it's all black. So like
Right.
I admire rap and I want to be part of this. Like I'm not trying to take it over. I'm not trying to
No.
say this is a tech thing or whatever. It's just like, hey, I admire you and I want to lift you up. So he's
Yeah.
very much like, I see what you're doing. I recognize it. I'm going to leverage what I have built to make sure that you get what you need.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he just continues to give and give and give. Like nothing that
For
he
sure.
does is just, oh, let me boost James. Let me do this for me. It's always, okay, what can I do for you? What can I do for my guests? And I guess that's the distinction, is like where you're here for the community, you're here to build people up, you're here just authentically
Yeah.
interested, curious, and
Yeah.
excited about
Intentions
stuff.
matter.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
across like you can't fake it.
You're
Yeah.
not
You
trying to
can't fake
steal it. You're
Right.
just like,
You just love
I
it.
love
Yeah.
this.
Right. A part of
This
it.
is just
Yeah.
a part of who I am. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I
that's
figured you'd dig it, and so this is
I
good.
do dig it. I do, and I
I'm
can't
good
wait to
with.
battle
I
you.
mean,
Are we gonna battle?
probably not. I don't write. I love rap music. I grew up with it.
Mhm.
Like I'm
Mm.
Fat Boys all the way. You know,
Yes.
I
like
think Ken Wheeler
Look.
needs to just spin beats, and we'll
Yep,
just have
and then
people
we'll just
on.
we'll
do
just-
rap battles.
and yeah.
I'll tell you what, if we can get to an event where Ken is spinning and it's just rap battle, I'll go fail that. I don't give a shit.
I'll fail because
Yeah, I would give it a try.
I'm not a freestyle
Yeah,
rapper.
yeah.
I'm not a freestyle rapper. I'm a spoken word poet, but I come prepared. I have all my rhymes written.
I mean, rap battles are like their own thing. Like there's
Yeah.
plenty of people who never made it in the industry that are incredible.
Really?
at
It takes
that.
a lot
Did
of
you ever watch
thought,
some of
though.
that stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Hot sauce. And,
History of
that's-
Hip Hop is
I'm talking
the
about
most
basketball.
one of the best docuseries I've ever seen.
What was
Like,
it called?
History of Hip Hop.
Oh,
And
I
he
haven't seen that
breaks
one.
down like the history of it, but also like in the different areas and stuff. It's so funny. I had to go to Tucson with my wife last weekend,
Mhm.
and I was talking about it a little bit about like I told her about how Andre has a flute album now.
Okay.
And I was like, that's just his truth. Like, he's probably in his 50s. Like, it's not the Dungeon
Flute
family anymore.
exclusively?
Yeah.
And she's like, Dungeon? Yeah, it's a flute
Interesting.
album. He's done. That's where he's at.
Okay.
And that's okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, Dungeon
Artists
family
can make whatever art
they
they
were
want.
in
Yeah, they can.
Atlanta in
Mhm.
a house down in a basement. There was dirt floor. They drug their equipment down. They just lived there and just
Honestly, I dig it.
made music, right?
I dig it.
And then, Atlians or whatever came out. I think Atlians was the first one.
AT-aliens.
AT-aliens. Okay.
Yeah. I've never heard it pronounced like that, and that is
Well,
hilarious.
Chuck pronounces stuff wrong.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I do that.
He's old.
He owns it though. He's like, this is how it's said.
He was so
Mhm.
confident about
But you know,
aliens. I've never
Just giving you a
heard
hard
that.
time.
That was great.
Yeah.
this is what people do. That's fine. I will own many mistakes, and that's one of them. But I saw Outkast in Tempe, Arizona in like 2001 or 2 or something, like when they were in a tiny place. So
Wow. So I'm from the Northeast originally.
Mhm.
So Outkast wasn't like, I only had heard the hits. Now that I'm living in Atlanta, now I'm hearing all of the
back-
Outkast stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all the goods,
not
the good
just
stuff.
Rosa Parks, but you got to like get
Right.
deep.
Yeah. So now I'm like,
6
getting
minutes.
put
You
onto
should
the
get the
albums.
Dungeon
Yeah.
Family 6 minutes, and it plays off of a Dougie Fresh thing back in the day, like
Yeah.
6 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So
So
I grew
good.
up on Biggie. I grew up
Okay.
on
Yeah.
who else? Jay-Z, of course. Of
Right.
course. Yeah. So very much like
Yeah.
the New York rap
Mm.
was my
Yeah.
stuff.
I tend towards East Coast, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Dig it. Are you a Biggie fan? This is a hot take.
Yeah, for sure.
Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
You're not just saying that because I'm here, right?
No.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I like Tupac, but I think Tupac was also like, he was trying to be successful and he was willing to jump around as he needed. And I don't mean that in
Yeah,
a house of thing.
I was- Man, same. I was just
I
like,
will get to
Oh,
you.
the tip of my tongue.
I
Yeah.
will get there. But again, like I listened to the Fat Boys, Dougie Fresh, like Run DMC back in the day. Like I listened to a whole bunch of like very old school things
Mhm.
too.
So would you say your favorite type of music is hip hop, or is that just one of the many genres that
I mean, I go through moods, but
Yeah.
I definitely.
And do you like new stuff? Because that's like older stuff is way different and
Right.
better,
Some-
in my
that's true.
opinion.
Yeah, some, but it takes digging.
Do you like
I don't like
auto-tune?
radio stuff. No, I don't
Okay.
like most of it. I mean, 808 had some interesting autotune, and actually, Death of Autotune,
Mhm.
Jay-Z
Mhm.
was like fucking awesome.
That
That
was
was
an
just like
amazing
Called
album.
everyone out. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like, "Here's how I do it right, and I'm done with you."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my
so,
stuff. That was my stuff. Oh my god. Now I gotta go back and listen to
Wu-Tang, though, by the way, was probably the right answer for me around that time.
So yeah, I was gonna ask you who was your favorite rapper or rap group?
Well, I have a hard time picking favorites, and they change all the time. So
Top 3.
topical,
4 or 5.
but I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. Big,
Yeah?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And the RZA as a producer is incredible. RZA as a rapper, Bobby Digital stuff was like, all right. And the
Yeah.
Prince Rakeem stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, not great for me. But I mean, Method Man is one of the best lyricists
And he
ever.
is
He's incredible.
incredibly good looking man.
Right.
Like
But
even to
let's
this
say Ladies
day, I'm
Love.
like, my goodness. Woo. No, even like LL Cool J could never. Like
I get that. LL is one
oh
of the
my
best
God.
lyricists of all time,
You
actually.
think so?
Absolutely.
I don't
I've
agree.
read a bunch of stories about how like he'd do collabs for people, walk in, spend 30 minutes, and just be like, boom, 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 crushed it, and just kill it.
Interesting.
The lyrics and the rapping are different skills, though. Like,
It's right. That's right.
I think his
Yeah,
lyrics
like
and
the
his flow is
Yeah.
just good. Yeah, I just think he's good. I think he can kill it. Like,
So, okay, let me give you mine. So I'm thinking Jay-Z is definitely in my top. This is not in any particular order, but my top
yeah,
3-ish.
top
Ken-
five lyricists.
5.
Okay.
Not in any particular order. I'm just going. Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar,
Yes.
J.
Very good.
Cole.
R.I.P.
No.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, not
J. Cole? I was
J.
like,
Cole.
did I miss
No.
something?
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
Detroit guy that I confused.
Detroit
with
guy.
him too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being
we're
specific.
narrowing it.
Yeah.
Wrote down like.
All right. Well, I'll get Blaze for this one. Thanks.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come.
Are you talking about?
Jay.
But he's from California, though.
Yeah, he's from Detroit. And he's Jay.
Please Google it. Let her finish her list and
Yeah.
you Google it.
Fine.
Because now I'm
Good.
Okay,
on
because I
something
need to know
else.
who died. All right.
Yes, you do.
Okay, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, J. Cole. Who else? This is hard because I need a female. Okay, not necessarily the best lyricist, but kind of. Megan Thee Stallion, like
Oh,
I
she's
love
good,
her.
actually.
I
I like
love
her a lot.
everything about
Yeah.
her. Everything
Great.
she embody, hotties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah,
She's definitely
that's my
the
girl.
heir apparent. Right.
Everything
Yeah.
about her is just. She's good, and
She was great on Hot Ones too, by the way. You had that
I
too.
didn't know she was on Hot Ones.
You gotta watch that. You're gonna love it.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
I gotta quit this conference. After this,
I gotta quit.
honestly,
I can't quit you.
I'll grab some barbecue, bring it up to my room.
Bring this with
My
you.
family's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah,
down. I think Sarah wants to meet you. I
Absolutely
don't know. My wife wants to meet you, so
She does.
yeah, I think so.
I want to be her
But
too.
you told her not to come down here.
What's
No,
your-
I didn't tell her not to. I told her to come at 4, and then she said
Okay.
kids are sleeping.
I guess
Okay,
Caitlin
Is she
decided
here?
not to come.
I don't
But
know
that's
who to
fine.
pick for 5 because I feel so stressed about picking the 5th and ostracizing the rest of all of the great
Yeah, you.
lyricists.
Well, you can come back to it. Say, we'll let you know.
Yeah, because I'm like,
We'll tweet it later.
like, would it be a group? I am very stressed about this. I don't know what to do.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
good
let's
options.
just keep thinking about it.
But you got to leave someone out if you're only picking 5. So,
No, you're right, and that's made me way more stressed than I
Yeah.
already. I can't really think. Who's yours, Robbie?
Yeah.
For like
Who's yours,
old school
Robbie?
rap,
Any rap? Because I
I don't know.
said
I really
Kendrick.
like A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yes,
That's a good choice.
that's a good call.
A really good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
Maybe Biggie.
I mean,
Maybe Pac.
but you got to pick one. Is it
Me?
Q-Tip?
We said
Just
top
Q-Tip?
5.
You got to do Q-Tip. Is
Q-Tip.
it groups or individual?
Well, we weren't specific.
lyricists? Okay,
Mm.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Anyway. Oh man, I've had a lot of whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to.
Tell us. Let's circle back to tech just for a minute.
Okay.
Good luck with
I
that.
checked out your course website earlier. It's not
Yes.
fully done yet, right? Or how's that going?
I don't know if it's appropriate or allowed to announce it yet, but
Mm.
the course is going to be merged with one of your favorites.
Matt Pocock.
Pocock?
It's not Matt Pocock,
Mm.
but same family actually. He's a cousin.
Oh,
now.
another Pocock?
Ugh.
Two cock.
The good part.
Oh
This is
god.
the good part about drinking more.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's all the same family. So TS for JS was sponsored by or hosted. I don't know what the word is. I was working with the Egghead folks. There's Joel Hooks, amazing person, who has also this other business that's related to Egghead, Skill Recordings. And so there's a lot of great courses that have come out of Skill Recordings. So Haven't announced it yet. It'll be announced pretty soon, but I'm going to be collaborating on my course with somebody who I respect so much just as a human being, as a parent, and especially as a course creator. And my TypeScript course will be part of that. So, yeah.
Stay
Well,
tuned.
yeah. We'll see what it's called. But you heard it here first. This
Yeah.
is the first time actually saying this publicly.
Now you're stuck.
Now I'm stuck. Now I'm accountable
Yeah.
to it.
I also did have on here. I wanted to circle
Couldn't
back
find
because
it.
you've been talking about your son's pants being the same size
Oh
as
my
yours.
gosh.
Yes.
Like,
we should
do you think
definitely
that's
talk about this.
attributed to the bougie milk, or
You know what? That's you know what? You're actually
That's a good touch point.
that's
I
an
think.
authentic reaction
Yeah.
because I heard that whatever hormones are in milk are making kids grow exponentially. So my
Oh,
son, I'm
okay.
5'6", and my son is up to here on me when I'm standing up.
yeah,
Oh,
And
wow.
I've been confusing his
He's like
pants.
6, right?
He just turned 6. Like
Yeah.
he's a freshly couple months old,
wow,
6 years old, right? And so I remember on his first birthday, you go for the checkup and they do the height and weight and everything. He was exactly half my size at 1 year old.
Wow.
And I was like, this is kind of a
seems
problem, but
little-
kind of
whoa,
cool.
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
cool though.
Yeah, but then he's grown another half, or like another quarter or whatever since then. But the whole reason we're talking about this, so I tweeted about how I was confusing my son's pants with my pants, like when I was taking them out of the laundry. And then there was one moment where I was like looking at a pair of pants, and my son's like, what's going on? Like, he's like, what's wrong?
Why you look at
And I
those
was like,
pants?
yeah. So I'm trying to figure out which load to fold it up into. Does it go on his hangers or my hangers? So I'm looking at it. He's like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, are these your pants or my pants? And he's like, this is funny. So he was like, Mommy, they're my pants because you always wear broken pants. And I was like, do you mean because I always wear ripped jeans, which I'm literally wearing ripped jeans right now? And I was like, do you mean because I'm wearing ripped jeans? He's like, yeah. No, he was like, you just have broken pants. And I was like, somebody commented and they were like, how tall are you if you're 6-year-old, you're confusing their
Yeah.
pants? I'm like, I'm normal. I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah,
you're not short or
I'm the
anything.
normal
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
He's the abnormal. He's
Yeah.
the abnormal like freak of nature. He's a giant. So, but yeah. So I posted a TikTok. Now I'm on TikTok, by the way. So I posted a TikTok where I'm
How many
showing his
dances
pants.
do you do?
I don't even do
Okay.
dances, but I was learning from my friend's daughter. So that makes her my niece. So I was learning from my niece about how to grow my TikTok and Instagram at one of the open spaces at that conference a little while ago. So I think I will start doing dances.
Oh,
But
really?
I did, it was just a video where I held my son's pants up to my waist and I showed this is exactly why, because his pants go from my waist to like this far on my ankles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's 6.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy.
newly minted 6 years
How
old.
many people have said you're going to get him into basketball?
Oh yeah, right. Because he can't be a dental assistant, right? As a giant, like what else are you
Gotta
gonna
lean
do?
over a lot for that. Yeah.
Like, in your teeth, like let me get
Yeah.
in there.
Well, hopefully he keeps growing because I grew real fast and was like this height in 6th grade,
Oh.
and then
it
stopped.
never went
Okay, and how
again.
tall are you?
5'10".
Yeah.
So all the doctors were like, "You're gonna be way over 6 feet." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
cool." Nope.
Right. And that's about
Yeah.
the height of his dad. So I'm like, on both sides of his family, my brothers, my dad, everybody's well over 6 feet. And he and his dad, my son's dad and my son's dad's dad, are both the shortest in their family, like 5'10",
Gotcha.
5'11"-ish. And then everybody else is over 6 feet. So I'm hoping that he's adopted.
Maybe got that part. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the
I
shortest
feel
one.
the struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Are you
Oh,
going to
gosh.
waste these?
Yeah.
I have no desire to drink it.
Are you gonna drink all 3?
We'll just
Nope.
take them
Shotgun
to
'em.
the barbecue and be like,
All
"Here
right.
you go."
We'll see what happens.
I like it.
All right.
I respect it. Yeah, because I'm not drinking it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
All right.
not.
Yeah,
That's
well,
fair.
yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, I'm empty, but
You
Yeah.
don't have to be.
Yeah.
well,
do
you're
it.
right. But it's just now 5, bro. Like
5 o'clock somewhere.
I'm
Let's go for
I'm
it.
trying to not be
I'll do.
Too late.
unconscious.
Wait, can I walk
Too
around
late.
with this? It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
do a little bit more.
No.
Yeah.
Salud.
I mean, Clark will let you, but I don't know if the,
Yeah.
the conference center likes that or not.
That's fine. I don't do anything except talk.
All
Lose my
right.
voice.
All right,
Thanks.
so well, no, we gotta end the.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what
we
I'm
gotta
saying.
end. Yeah, you got anything you want to plug before we end?
Absolutely. So let's plug my Twitter and my new TikTok. So if you want to follow, and my YouTube. So I'm a very Googleable person. So just look for I'm the only Shaundai person in the world. Shaundai.
I think so. That's
Yeah.
true.
At Shaundai, everything except for TikTok because some hater got my handle before I got it. Yeah.
Oh,
So on TikTok, I'm Shaundai P for person,
Wow.
not for anything
You
weird.
should contact them and get that, I think. Do they post or?
No, it's just a waste of life. Like, I
Then yeah,
swear,
you
if I
should.
saw
I
them
think
in
they
the
would give it
streets,
to you. Yeah.
you think so?
Yeah. If
And
they
then
if they
I'd
aren't
buy
using
it.
it, they
grab
will,
it.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll reach out because they're really not doing
If you're
anything.
that everywhere, then of course it's you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just annoying. Like, why
Yeah.
would you do that? That's my name. But but yeah, so look for me Twitter, YouTube at Shaundai, and TikTok for now, Shaundai P.
All right. Cool. Thanks everyone for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe, leave some ratings and reviews. We'll catch you next time. Blah, 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 blah.
If you want to be on, contact her.
Yeah. This
That's
is our manager. Over here, yeah. All right. Get this off my ears.
Yeah.
Cool.